All right, I wanted to make sure that you understood how our grades are determined, so I wanted to go through this final, well, it wasn't your final, but one of your final Canvas-based assignments to determine the grades for these scenarios. We're going to be using the tables that you find in your syllabus to do it so that you have a better idea of how it works if you had any points of confusion. All right, so our first scenario, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill out this table because this table's information will allow us to use the flow chart that's going to be on the next page. Okay, so Jasmine has earned proficiency in 12 of the LOs for the semester. So that puts her at the C level for the assessments. We don't have any integrated problems, so. Her lab average is an 86, which puts her at the A level. She has completed 82% of the perusal assignments, so 82 is below 85, so that puts her at a B level for perusal, and 82% of the Canvas-based, so same thing happens for Canvas-based assignments. And then at WebAssign, her average is 87 and 88 for the anchoring concepts and her preparing for assessment. So those are both at the A level. So we just want to remember this going to the next page, that her assessments put her at the C level, and then other than that, her lowest grade for anything else is a B. So let's move on to the flow chart. Okay, so we're going to start here with the flow chart because her assessment grade was a C. And then we just go down from there. Is the grade for every other category an A? Well, that was not true, so we got to go down here. Is the lowest grade for any other category a B with your highest grade an A? And that is where Jasmine was. So going into the final, she has a C plus. So into final, she's at the C plus range. Now let's take a look at the final grade table, which allows us to take her grade going into the final and her results of her final to figure out where she might end up. So she's at the C plus, so we start right here. And we can see that if she gets 7 out of 10 correct on her final, she'll stay at the C plus, but she can actually pull her grade up to a B plus. If she gets a perfect score on her final, the highest grade she could get is a B plus. So that's the result for Jasmine, which is pretty promising to think that she goes into the final with a B plus, and a C plus, and it's actually possible for her to come out of the final with a B plus for the class. Right, so now let's look at Idris' situation. He has proficiency at 16 of the 17 LOs, so he is at the A level for that. His lab average was a 90. He didn't miss any labs. That's what these numbers in parentheses stand for, missing some of the assignments. He completed 86% of the perusal and 87% of the Canvas-based assignments, so he's actually at the A level for those. But when we get to his WebAssign averages, those are at the B level. So we just want to take a look at this and sort of commit it to our memory so that we can use our next tables correctly. We're going to go into the flow chart, remembering that Idris has an A in assessments, and he does not have everything at the A level. His lowest grade is a B. So if we start here with the A level, is your grade for every other category also an A? Well, that's not true. So we go down this one. Is your grade for every other category or B or above? Yeah, that is true. So that gives us to an A minus. So he has an A minus going into final. And now we're going to look at the final grade chart to see how well he could do. Can he pull it up to an A? So let's take a look at that. So he's at the A minus, and we can see that if he gets a 9 out of 10 on the final, he can get an A. And then finally, we'll go to our last situation. The table is just on a different page. So now we have Luca. He's only gained proficiency in 6 of his LOs. So he has an 85 in lab and hasn't missed any labs. His perusal and Canvas-based assignments are 90 and 85%. So let's go fill those. How is he doing on his WebAssign homework? He has an 85 and an 80. Okay, I want to make sure I circle that. We're going to make that a different color. So he's at the F level for his LOs out. So he's at lab and these. And finally, and so I think that this is a really important case to do, because we see some really different results in terms of the LOs. The student only is at the F level because he only has proficiency for 6 of the learning objectives. But in a lot of the other material, he's doing really well. He has an A with the lowest grade of a B. And so we really need to understand, like, can I do that? Can I really pull up my grade if I haven't gotten the LOs that I need to pass? And we go to the flow chart, and here we see the fact that when we're determining the grade in this class, your proficiency on your learning objectives is really stressed as the most important thing. And so when you have an F level with your assessments, you will go into the final with an F. You can't really pull that out. And let's see what the final result could do for you. And so here we are with the final. You can see you could actually bring it to a C, but that's asking a lot because of the past performance on the learning objectives. But it is a fact, you could get a C if you got a perfect final. So I hope this helps. And if you have any questions, please let me know, because I want you to make sure you understand how the grade is determined.